Oh, Mike, okay.
And that's what
Okay, perfect. So here's the first thing. We'll just kind of dive in. When you're starting from ground zero, you have to master two sides of it, and that's going to be like what I call the art of it and the science of supplementing. So you first have to know the technical stuff, like how do I use Xactimate properly, and how do I put together the right looking estimate and put the right F9 notes in there, use an overhead and profit cover sheet, or use macro templates so I'm not building every estimate by hand, which is ridiculous because it takes 35 minutes or something. We can cut that in half with macros, or how to use the sketch tool and how to find language and definitions in Xactimate. So half of it is all technical about using the software. And the thing about Xactimate software is Steve Jobs did not invent it, okay? It's not exactly like the most user-friendly software on the planet. It's a little bit archaic, and if you don't know, like, here's the truth. Most people will figure out how to do the basic stuff. Like, I never got training, and I certainly did learn how to build an estimate by hand. I didn't ever figure out macros or anything like that. And I could send off a supplement, but had I known all of the other features and functions of the software, I could have done a lot better and spent a lot less time in front of the computer and gotten a lot more things approved for bigger claims. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because that's fun too.
Exactly. And so if you're just trying to muscle through it, unfortunately, there's just no way you're going to learn everything that you need to learn. Like, you have to be trained on it. Now, the only thing is, up until very, very recently, when Alina kind of put together the Xactimate Mastery course, all Xactimate training has been live, and it's been for insurance adjusters. So roofing contractors have been going and trying to do those classes, but they come away, and I get emails all the time where they go, that was virtually a waste of time. Half the time we studied things that I'm never going to use as a roofing contractor, and it was definitely taught, right, like for adjusters. So the course that we've put together is honestly, it's the only one of its kind. Like, if a roofer wants to learn Xactimate the way that we do for, maximizing insurance claims, then everything's going to be in the Xactimate Mastery course, okay? So that's where you can learn. It's basically 25 hours of video tutorial, Andrea. So you're going to sit down and start going through the videos, and the first few videos, of course, are going to be like Xactimate for dummies, right? Like, if you've never done this in your life, here's how to use it, okay? And then from there...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did. He actually did pay for a training. I forgot about it. We went to an Xactimate class a couple of months back, and it was nice, but
yeah,
the experience that I just said is, like you just said, rather, that we went to class, we learned some stuff, but when it came down to it, coming home and trying to do this on your own and trying to figure out how it works and using Xactimate for supplementing, we didn't learn that stuff.
Exactly. It's just not built for you guys, right?
Right.
Like, it's not the same. And so you have to learn it from your side, because we're opposite sides of the spectrum. I always jokingly say, like, the reason that roofing contractors want to learn to write Xactimate is because they don't like the way that adjusters are writing their Xactimate estimates. So why on earth... Why are we going to the training class where they're teaching adjusters how to write it? Now we're not learning really anything new, right? So the first, yeah, absolutely. And so the first part is just maximizing your Xactimate knowledge, because right now, the truth is it costs you money doing it the way that you're doing it. You're not finding a lot of the line items or able to defend them or overcome objections because you don't really know the software in and out. You're spending literally 3 times as long writing each estimate, so that's taking time out of your day. Macros save you a ton of time. It's just a pre-built function. You just hit click. It's a wood shake, and it goes and it fills up a wood shake estimate for you, and then you can just edit it from there. Makes a huge difference. Overhead and profit. You can use the white paper in Xactimate. You can build an overhead and profit cover sheet on there. So we got to take you from zero to hero with Xactimate, and that's going to help you on the technical side. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But now this moves us to part 2. Okay, it's great if you can put together a really buttoned up, shiny Xactimate supplement or estimate, put a bow on it, and send it to an adjuster, but that's not enough. Because when you send it over, now you have what I refer to as the art of supplementing, and that's the sales process. That's the back and forth, like, you know, you can call it an argument or a pissing contest or whatever you want to call it, but your back and forth handling objections with the adjuster, that is a dynamic process, right?
Yeah.
Because you've probably seen already, like you've got a Liberty Mutual adjuster who they are up in arms about A, B, C, and D, and then you've got, you know, USAA that pays for that stuff no problem, but they don't want to pay for D, E, F, okay? So, yep.
We had that just happened last week. We had a guy that he was like, "Oh, in the state of North Carolina, we don't have to pay for ice and water shield underlayment."
Yep.
I'm like, well, we're putting it on there.
Yeah.
So either we're gonna have to charge the homeowner, or you're gonna approve it.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So like when it comes down after the technical part, that's like the kind of boring, like it's not the most exciting part, learning the technical stuff, but the most crucial part of this whole process becomes presenting your supplement request to the adjuster and then handling the back and forth objections to get the extra funds, right?
Right.
So supplementing comes down to 3 main steps, and here's what I teach in my program is 1, what you ask for. Okay, so these are the actual Xactimate line items that you're going to be asking for, and we're not talking about arguing about the same bullshit all day long, like ridge and starter and O&P and flashings and drip edge and stuff like that. Everybody and their grandma is arguing about those and have been arguing about those for decades in this industry. And they're the things that no adjuster wants to pay you for ridge and starter. You know, no adjuster, right? They always want to argue about overhead profit and stuff like that. And they've got all their reasons for, you know, it wasn't directly affected by the hail for, you know, drip edge or your flashings.
Oh my God, I just played this.
Right? It's like that. You're going to hear those every single time. And so if those are the only items that you're fighting for, you're going to have a bad time, and your supplements are going to be very small. Maybe a couple $100, maybe $1,500. That's not exciting. Okay?
No.
Not good. It ain't good enough. So what I mean when I say step 1 is what you ask for. In my program, I have it like organized basically as the master list of supplemental items. So this is a list of over 100 Xactimate items that are kind of outside the box. And what I mean when I say that is they're creative. They're not the ridge and starter O&P flashings type of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's so much in Xactimate that the average contractor doesn't even know about that they're missing out on huge opportunities to add 10 more items to their supplement instead of just 3 or 4. And those 10 other items that are like a little bit weird because you never see them on estimates, those are easier to get approved because the adjuster sitting on the other side of the computer or the phone isn't looking at it and going, oh, well, my superior told me that when a contractor asks me for over and profit, I'm just supposed to say, well, that it's not complex enough in nature, or I'm supposed to say it's not enough trades, and that gets them off my back, right?
Okay.
But when you ask for a generator, because there's no exterior power, or you're not going to charge the customer for the power incurred, or you ask for custom bent aluminum instead of 6-inch fascia because you're not buying pre-bent pieces of metal, you're going out there with a brake and making your own to fit to the house. Now you've got these things that the adjusters are just like, oh, all right. And they might still give you an objection, but it's not going to be the uphill battle that the O&P, ridge and starter, all that bullshit argument's going to be about. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what you ask for means we're going to give you way more items in your arsenal. So you've got more ammo in your toolkit. Okay? And we're going to give you things that are not on the list of objections for adjusters where you know they're going to say, that's included in the waste. Well, that's included in this. Or it's our policy, right? So now we move on to step 2. And step 2 is you already have what you're going to ask for. Now it's how you ask for those things. Okay?
Right.
It's not as simple as saying, well, here are the items that we're asking for, thanks. Because guess what? Adjusters, you're basically closing them like you would a customer, right? If I showed up to a customer's house and they've never met me before in their life and I knocked on their door and they opened the door and I just said, hey, you have hail damage. I saw it up there. Here's a contract. Just sign right here and I'm going to go ahead and get you a new roof.
Right.
What if that was my sales pitch? It's like nobody would sign. I'm not closing anybody. I'm just asking for the order without a sales presentation. You have to have a sales presentation before you ask for the order. And with supplementing, that means you have to present to the adjuster before you ask them to pay the supplement, right?
Right.
So what we're doing here is a couple of things. One, of course, every line item that you ask for, you're going to have a thorough explanation of why it's necessary for that job, right? So I'm not just saying, here we need cornice strips. I'm saying we need cornice strips paid for, and here are the photos, and here's why we need it, and here's the definition. Because we're handling the objection before it comes up, right? But more importantly, when we send it off, I have in the program, it's just called the email script. And it's a script, it's a short paragraph that's going to introduce each supplement when you send it by email. So when the adjuster gets it, they open it, and the way that it reads, it sounds like somebody at the insurance company actually asked them to send it over. So they read it, and then they open it, and the Xactimate looks more professional than if an adjuster did it, and you're not asking for the same stuff that they're banging their head against the wall about. It's different line items, okay? So sometimes, Andrea, I'm sure if you look on my website, if you watched enough of my videos, you'll see where I share where adjusters literally email back and they go, looks great. I wish all my supplements looked like this, and they go, checks in the mail. Sometimes you're going to get adjusters that literally just say yes because it's put together so well. That's like 1 out of, 20 is going to happen like that. But the other thing that you have to be prepared for is the third and final step, which is no matter how well you put it together and no matter what fancy line items you put on there, and if you follow my system to a T, you can't expect that every single time you send it off, every adjuster from every insurance company on every single claim is going to say to you, Andrea, thank you for sending that over. Check is in the mail. Send me another one. They're still, right? Like, they're still going to give you objections. Okay? Why do you think they're still going to object?
I honestly feel like because they can.
Because it's their job.
Right. They're not supposed to spend any money if they don't have to.
They're paid to mitigate loss for the insurance company. In fact, I remember so vividly, I had an adjuster one time. I think it was Liberty Mutual, but he handed me his business card. We did the inspection together or whatever, and handed me his business card, and it said his name, and then underneath it, it said loss mitigation for Liberty Mutual. And so I was like, wow, they're not, it's like their job is it's not to go and serve the customer. It is to a degree, but their actual job is to mitigate the loss of their company. Right? Right. That's what they do. They're running a business, and businesses are in business to make money. Insurance companies are huge businesses, okay? So their adjuster's job is to go out, and when they have claims, it's pay enough to indemnify the customer. To certainly don't pay a penny more, and get away with paying as little as possible because that's good for business, right?
Right.
Can't blame them. They're a business. I get it. But at the same time, you guys are a business, and the customer is paying for a policy that's supposed to cover them for their covered perils, right? So the third part of that puzzle is handling the objections, as many as you can. And here's the thing. If you're not going to sue everybody every single time or go to appraisal, which is not what I teach, then I can't show you how to get 100% of your line items on 100% of your claims with 100% of the insurance carriers and 100% of the adjusters every single time. But I can teach you how to overcome as many objections as humanly possible. And how we do that is we teach you an if this, then that format of handling objections, which means if the adjuster says something like this, you're going to say that. Then if they say this, you're going to send this photo, use this documentation, have your customer send in this letter, use this phrase, until you might go back and forth 2, 3, 4, 5 times until the adjuster either gives you what you want, maybe you're asking for $5,000, okay? And he either says yes, or he says yes to enough of it, maybe he lands at 4,000, and you go, all right, good enough, let's call it and move on to the next one. Because I'm also not teaching you guys, like, I don't want you to be fighting for 2 weeks over a chimney flashing or a pipe jack, right?
Right, and oh my God, you hit the nail on the head. We literally just had an insurance adjuster do that.
Yep.
We asked for, they thought in the picture that it was 3 pipe jacks, but in actuality, no, they saw in the picture it was 2, but that was the way the picture was turned versus the salesperson that was out there taking the picture.
Yep.
And the adjuster never came. The adjuster sent someone to get on the roof. So the person that got on the roof didn't take any extra photos. So they seriously denied the entire line of pipe jacks because they saw 2 when it was 3.
Yeah.
So they denied all 3 of them.
Right, which is such a great example even to your customers of the flaw in the adjusting system. It's like, listen, even
Exactly.
you could get the best adjuster in the world who treats it like your house, like it's his own house, and it like you're his mother or something, you know, and makes sure that every single thing is paid for correctly, and he's got construction experience, so he knows exactly what's code and what has to be done and so on. But you also might have the adjuster that doesn't even get on the roof. That happens all the time.
Yeah, that.
It happens all the time.
And ask for our photos.
Exactly. Or they didn't, like in your instance, where they didn't even get on the roof, didn't actually even take photos, and so when they came, or they took photos, but the only photos were what you could see in the photo, and they missed things,
Right.
And it was like, that's what they were writing their scope off of. So it helps you to also be able to, this helps you, all of this third-party stuff, Andrea, will assist you in dealing with your homeowners when it comes to supplementing as well. Because remember, your homeowners are ignorant most of the time. Some of them know, like, insurance companies are greedy and they're going to try to rip me off. But a lot of them think, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, or you're in good hands.
And they're there for them, not the case.
Exactly. And then they think that the contractor's the greedy one, when in reality, it's the insurance company would rather pay $0. They would rather you keep paying them $1,000 a year or $2,000 a year, whatever it is, and pay you $0 for claims because that's how they make their profit. But when they come out, injustice to the customer doesn't necessarily mean just denying the claim. A lot of the time, they'll approve the claim, but they'll pay $7,500 when it should be $15,000.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So helping the customer understand that is also important because the other thing, when you take this a step further, when you're supplementing, your homeowners can actually be one of your biggest leverages in getting this stuff approved. Because remember, you're the contractor. You don't have a policy with AAA. But the customer whose claim has been filed, they have a contract with AAA. So the adjuster at AAA doesn't owe you jack shit, but they owe their customer.
Exactly.
So when you ask for certain things in a certain way, they might fight you all day long and build up a wall. But when your customer asks for it in a specific way, and by the way, I have all this stuff scripted for you guys. There's letters you'll download and use and all that for this stuff. But when you do that, the insurance adjusters sing a different tune because now they could be breaching their contract with their customer, right?
Right.
They can say no to you, but they can't exactly say no to their customer if what you're asking for is legit.
Right.
But you have to have the tools, you have to have the knowledge, you have to have the language and definitions and the strategies. This all works together for you to be able to be effective at supplementing and get your customer indemnified for the things that they should be indemnified for, and to make sure that you guys can put the right things on the roof and you get paid for the work that you do. Everybody gets taken care of correctly.
Right.
Okay. So in a nutshell, That's what I teach. So you go through and you learn the software and you get the technical knowledge of using Xactimate, which is way more than just typing in and putting together an estimate line by line. There's way more than that. And then the supplement process is learning what to add, learning how to ask for it, and then learning the back and forth, objection handling process with those adjusters. And here's what I can personally guarantee you. I've been teaching this stuff since 2014. There are over 1,000 contractors following my stuff. I advertise that the average supplement that you add will be about $2,500, but the real number is more like $4,000 or $4,500. And I don't advertise that because I want to underpromise and overdeliver. And I know that, right? But that's the truth. Like, if you go back and look at the reviews, people share, I had this many claims, I added this much, this was my average supplement. I've got guys who have average supplements between $5,000 and $7,000. That means across the board, company-wide, following the same system. But if you want to be super conservative and say, well, we do 100 claims per year, and let's say that we only get an extra $2,500 following Becca's system, do the math. That's another $250,000 in profit for your company.
Exactly. Just for a company.
It's stupid. And by the way, if you want to make it even easier to justify the investment, let's say on those same 100 jobs as a super small company, instead of $2,500, let's say that you only make $250 extra per claim, which, by the way, this has literally never happened. These are like embarrassing numbers, but just for argument's sake, that is still $25,000 in profit extra. That pays an administrator's salary damn near. That's a new truck.
Right. That can take care of a lot of just the expenses for the business.
Absolutely.
I mean, you would be. I really never thought about it until I ran this business. The amount of expenses we really have.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and actually, that's such a great note. I'm actually making a note, Andrea, right now that you said that, because that's a great message to help people understand. It's like, listen. Here are the fixed hard expenses for you to run your business, right? To have the lights on, to have your rent for the office space, to pay for gas and the internet and all that other stuff. How much is that? How can you guarantee that you can pay for those things? Supplements.
Just supplementing will pay for the business expenses. Like $25,000 in 1 year will pay for internet, the computer if it needs maintenance.
Right.
If it needs maintenance. Salary, really.
Exactly. It goes a long way.
It makes sense.
Absolutely. And again, that number was based on the tiniest, weakest number I could give you. The real number, you could bank on it, Andrea, is $2,500 per that 100 claims. And that is $250,000 in profit. It's not crazy. That's real.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, and it's just following the system. And by the way, some of your supplements, you're going to get 10 grand, 15 grand. Some of them are only going to be $1,000 every now and again, or $2,000. But the average across the board at the end of the year, if you tally it all up, it's going to be sitting anywhere between $2,500 and $4,500. You can bank on that.
And for me, I just think that just me learning something new that could possibly continue to keep the business going.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm learning something new to use this month. I'm trying to learn something new to keep us going, because I know, like, with the supplement, doing what I know and what I've taught myself and what I've learned in the class, that's great. But at the bare minimum, if I don't understand and Xactimate what I'm asking for or how to look for something, then I'm going back to the same stuff that all of the other contracts are sending in the same shit.
Exactly.
The same shit every day. And I'm like, I don't want ours to look like everybody else's.
Exactly. It's like door knocking. When these guys go out and they have a shit door approach and they sound just like the other 8 guys that just knocked on the door, knock, knock, knock. Hi, I'm Barry with ABC Roofing. We've got an A+ on the blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I know me. I'm very. It doesn't take much to really entertain me.
Yeah.
But I'm to the point. Like, if you come to my door, you want to sell me something. Tell me what the fuck it is you want to sell me before I close the door. Like,
exactly.
Within the first 30 seconds of hello.
Exactly. I don't care what your name is. I don't care what your company name is. I don't care. Like, just get to the point, right? And it better be something special. Right?
Right, and something you can do for me is what I'm really waiting on. I'm not waiting on you to tell me about your company and how long you've been in business. I want you to tell me what it is that you can do for me that no one else can.
Exactly. You have to stand out. And it is no different being the person that's calling on the insurance adjusters. It's not.
Right.
And if you sound like every other jackass roofer that doesn't know much and you're asking for the same line items and you're using the same arguments, you're not going to get anywhere. Because guess what? The insurance company is not stupid and they train their staff. They go, here's what roofers usually say. Just like homeowners know, this is usually what roofers usually say at the door. So if you're doing it differently, well, now you're getting somebody's attention. And now you might actually have a chance at getting a result, right? So the thing is, Andrea, you just have to compare it. Like, you think about any other job. If you were going to go work in corporate America, or let's say that you were going to go and become a real estate agent, okay? You wouldn't, here's what you wouldn't do. You wouldn't hop on Vistaprint, make a business card that says real estate agent, slap your picture on it, and then go around and try to start selling homes. Because you don't have the training that you need.
I don't have experience to do so.
You don't know how to use the MLS system. You're no better than a homeowner that's just trying to buy a house. Exactly. You're not educated. Exactly. And you would never show up at a real estate agency and go, I'd like to sell homes for you guys. They're going to go, okay, are you trained?
Are you qualified to do so?
Are you qualified to do it? And here's the thing that people don't understand. In the roofing industry, apart from getting licensed to actually perform construction, there's no such thing as like real licensing or certification to be a supplementer or to be a salesperson. It's a job, right? So people mistakenly blow that part off. They're like, well, you just go and you figure it out as you go. No, you don't. You can train yourself to be a good salesperson. You can get training on supplementing. You can get training on Xactimate. You can get training on door knocking and closing. And you need to if you want to actually make it in this business. If you want to make that your career, you must be great at it. And you don't get great by trial and error alone.
No, I don't believe in that.
Right? So that's really what it comes down to is this is a job and it's got a lot of moving parts. And if you're going to do it at all, you absolutely owe it to yourself and your bottom line and your results to make sure that you're trained properly to do it. Why bother flopping around and just trying to figure it out by the seat of your pants when somebody can hand you the recipe and go, here, this works. I've been doing this for a long ass time, 10 years almost. Take it and follow it, and you'll get results right away instead of banging your head against the wall for months or years and still not being able to accumulate the knowledge necessary to achieve the type of numbers that we're talking about here through a proven system.
And that's what me and my boss are talking about. We just went through the training in, I say, January, February.
Yeah.
Brought the Xactimate, the actual professional desktop part. Okay, that's great. However, the money is just sitting there. If we're not using the Xactimate appropriately or as adequately as we possibly can, the Xactimate isn't paying for itself.
Bingo.
That's how I see things. So
exactly.
We're not using it.
Yep.
And if we are the people that, it's not like it's going to use itself. So we have to know how we can use this program to make us the money back, just to basically get the profit over, okay, I paid for Xactimate, and whenever the supplement pays for that program, I still want my profit on the end to make sure that next year I'm going to have to pay for the program again.
Exactly, because it's like a gym membership. You can pay for the gym membership, That don't mean you're going to be fit. You have to use it. You have to use it, and you have to know how to use it right. Right? So that's when it does pay. If you don't know anything about health and fitness or calories or macronutrients, buying a gym membership and even showing up at the gym and trying to quote unquote eat healthy still probably won't get the average person the result that they're after. They need to understand, they need to be taught nutrition, how energy expenditure works, what kind of workouts are going to burn the most calories and things like that, or what kind of exercises and how much weight is going to build the muscle that they want. Most people aren't going to get that by just getting the gym membership. They need to also get a trainer.
You also gotta go.
Bingo, right? Get a trainer, get somebody to show you exactly what you're doing. So that's kind of what this all comes down to is, again, here's what I try to help people understand. You're paying for this whether you buy the training or not. The problem is if you buy the training, you're just paying for the training and then you're making your money back immediately. If you don't buy the training, you're paying for it in losses over and over and over and over again. But guess what? There's no ROI on that. So you just bite the bullet. And because this, like we talked about earlier, it's like the first supplement or two pays for everything that you just bought to learn how to do that. And now you're just...
To learn, exactly.
Yeah. So, anywho, that's kind of how that stuff works, Andrea. And the two programs are both all online. So you'll go through the videos and the PDFs. You go back to it over and over. And then there's a forum on Facebook. So you're not going to call and text me personally if you have a question. You're going to engage in the forum. That's where all the discussion takes place. And I do participate in there. So you can get my help when you go, wow, Liberty Mutual's saying this. I've never run into this before. What would you guys do? And 7 roofers chime in and go, we dealt with the exact same thing. Here's what I did. Don't try this. This was a waste of time. Say this, right? And so, but it's super simple. I mean, it's 25 hours of Xactimate video tutorials, which kind of sounds like a lot, but it flies right by. You just turn it on and you follow along.
I do that as homework a week.
Exactly. Like, it's really not that much. It's easy to listen to and easy to learn. And then the other program, the Advanced Sales and Supplement Training Program, it's hard for me to say how long it would take to get through it because I've been adding and updating material to that since 2014, so I don't even know. But there's a ton. I look at it as more of a library of ammunition. So it's all organized in there, and you can learn what to say, and all the lessons are broken down, and that's where you're going to learn, like, your master list of supplemental items, looking at real claims and back and forth so you can see me handling objections with real adjusters in real time, right? What I'm saying. Yeah. Different letters for overhead and profit, letters for your homeowner to send in, all the claims negotiations process stuff is all in there. And you could be, I honestly mean this, within the first few days to a week, you'll be sending off your first supplements following the system. And then from there, it's just mastering your craft. So you'll have enough to be able to actually get it going in motion very, very quickly. And then the rest of the time spent going through the material over and over is going to really hone those skills, okay?
Okay.
So that's what I recommend. If you guys are looking to maximize your claims through supplementing, make sure you're mastering Xactimate and using that proficiently. The Advanced Sales and Supplement Training Program plus Xactimate Mastery is going to be, that's your 1-2 punch. It'll give you everything you need to know to truly be like a badass at it.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to work. I don't want any of us to have to work any harder than we really need to.
Why? Exactly. Why struggle when somebody's already... Listen, Lewis and Clark already forged the path. Don't make your own path a mile away. Just follow their road,
Exactly.
These programs I made were the Lewis and Clark. You've got Lewis in the Advanced Sales and Supplement Training Program and the Clark in the Xactimate Mastery. Just follow it.
Just follow it. That's it.
So...
It's no different. The supplementing guide and macros is basically what we wanted. We want to learn how to supplement on a better level, and as far as like doing a macro list, because one of the things that I've noticed with Tail is trying to go into that supplement, adding everything that supplement already has.
Right.
You have to fold out everything else and going to the macros list or going through just to try to find this one thing and we can't find it. I get pissed and I'm like, fuck it, it's just $12.
Right.
No, I won't take $12.
Exactly, because $12 on 100 claims is $1,200.
Exactly.
Right? And so, absolutely. So those so it's 2 courses and they come in a discounted bundle. That's probably what you've been looking at.
Yeah, I think so.
So each of those courses on their own individually are $2,500. But when you do them together, you actually save $500. So it's $4,500. And if you want to, you guys can actually use a payment plan. So you can split it up over 3 months. And I think it's like $1,600 times 3 months.
Payment plan is $1,600.
And by the way, that means for 30 days, you only pay $1,600. That's half of one supplement. If you're not getting half a supplement for 30 days, you should not be in this business. So, in other words, you're going to pay yourself back for the whole program probably in the first 2 weeks. But to put it into perspective, your cash flow is going to be in your favor 100% in supplements alone.
Okay, and that's just like I said, the process. So
yeah.
I think we're exactly where we're supposed to be, and just let me get into it and try. Where is that? Yeah, I see where it says these plans and pricing, because that's what I was looking at too the last time.
Yeah.
I was on there looking through the Facebook thing.
Yeah.
Yep, it says advanced sales supplement program and Xactimate mastery bundle. That's the one you're talking about, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So after that, after you actually like pay for the program, then it's just $17 a month. And that's your ongoing membership to the content and the forum. That gives you all the updates. Remember, Xactimate changes their software once a year. So all the updates, we make new videos, we update everything in the course. I'm constantly adding new material and updating it. You're going to have support in the forum ongoing. So that's how that works. And you'll constantly have your pulse kind of on what's the industry doing now. And so you'll have a lot of support from people who can answer questions for you and help you through unique challenges as you get going. And it's just a great system. It works. People love it. You guys will make a shitload more money. That's my promise to you.
And that's the only thing that really matters to me is making sure that I know we have enough to keep going now.
Yeah.
So why not just more than enough to keep going where we don't have to worry about going into our personal account to pay for anything because we don't have to. Right.
Whoever in their right mind would say, actually, we're making enough money. We're good. We don't need any extra.
Exactly. I don't know nobody just saying that shit.
I don't trust you. Yeah. All right. I'd like to just keep making ends meet, and that's it. I don't want to go above and beyond.
And that's bullshit.
Right.
Because I do not believe in that. I don't believe in working harder.
No.
I do believe in working harder.
Absolutely.